Hey everybody, I'm that girl Goddess. I don't have on my lashes today. All I'm going to say, I'm going to talk about consistency with children. I said I was going to do a series on the consistency because a lot of people talk about success, and we're going to talk about success with your children. You can't be successful if you're not consistent in what you're doing. And when I say what you're doing is either perfecting a thing or operating as a perfected. Okay? That means that thing is already established. Like if you can sing, if you keep rehearsing, pressing forward in your singing, memorizing the words to songs, and perfecting your way to bring out the song. It's one thing to turn around and say, I want to sing a song in church, and you sing, sign me up for the Christian Jubilee, write my name. Okay, that's not it. And you have a lot of people who feel, long as I sing unto the Lord, I should lead. That's not so. Okay, God didn't say he want everything. He want people to lift their voice up, excuse me, like in testimonial service, but he don't want a lot of noise. When you trying to bring people together and he's lifting up, the spirit of God is being raised up and invited in. He said a joyful noise. So you can't just sing like that, sign me up, and because you're willing to be, some people just want to be seen. Now if you was to go, sign me up for the Christian that you believe. That's another thing. Because you didn't put some energy in it. You didn't practice. Okay? When you want to lead in church or service, even children. When I was a children, I actually went to the church that Grady Emanuel before it blew up in Holland Park, okay, that the Clark sisters went into. And they had came up to the church and they was singing, and we heard them and everything, Bishop Williams and all of that. And I tell everybody, we were children, but they taught us to hit a note. I went to Sunday school at somebody else, Sunshine Choir, and it was little kids. And I'm gonna say about that 5 to 9 years old. When I was a child, and I come from a lot of professional singers, we was not we was not encouraged to sing off key. Okay, we was taught when we sing and we can say sign me up. If we turn around and say sign, anything like that, they gave us our keys, and they said soprano, alto, contralto, tenor. They went on to bass, baritone. They didn't allow us to do anything with our voice. And it's very important that you don't allow your children to sing any old kind of way. You have to train their throat, their voice. Sometimes tone come in with maturity. Sometimes tone comes in with practice as well as a pitch. Okay? When you are consistently doing something like singing, God will bless that thing. Now that don't mean everybody is going to be a professional singer, because some people may take them 10 years to get it. Some people may take 2. God know who he has anointed and gifted. Okay? But when we was in the choir, sopranos better be the Lord, the Lord, the Lord. We had to hit notes. And by the time I was 4 years old, they told me I had a voice like Aretha Franklin. They told me, oh, baby, I thought, woo, you was a grown woman in the other room. I was a little Countess Vaughn when I was little. I ain't been practicing in years, but trust me, When I get in church, I command that stage by the Spirit of God and draw people in. People, and this is a statement I tell people constantly, always want something for nothing. You want your children to grow up to be successful, but you don't teach them how to respect somebody. And it goes beyond you just saying, baby, you don't talk to adults like that. You shouldn't be using profanity. It goes to, sweetie, listen to me. You don't use profanity in front of adults, especially. You shouldn't use it at all, because profanity do draw demons, and that's an attack of the enemy. You don't want to be fighting things and opening doors to things that you can't handle, that can cause great bodily harm or spiritual harm, mental harm, emotional harm. Okay? You have to tell your children, you talk to, say this in front of people, a lot of adults will hold grudges towards you and prejudge you as being a horrible child. They will never have faith that you can be anything, which is foolishness, but people do it. I know people who didn't like people as a child. It's people who didn't like me as a child because I was bright. They had a problem with that. Okay? Jealousy is jealousy. And you can increase how a person feels towards you, towards the way you communicate with them or in front of them. At all times, you have to be watchful of yourself. You have to teach your children that. Sometimes children don't respect people because all they hear you is drunk talking crazy. And they say, oh, that old drunk. And you have to turn around and tell them, even though they are intoxicated, you still are going to respect them. They are an adult. You're still not going to talk perverted up under people's clothes. Okay? This is not okay. I'm raising you better than that. You obtain the favor of God for listening to your parents, too. Walking in wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And it is an adult place to teach you this. Even though a lot of them don't have it. You have to be consistently. When your child step out of line, you told them to do something, there should be consequences. You should be consistently dealing with the child's unruly behavior. It's not okay. And people tend to think, oh, my child, this is my baby. They don't want to hug and kiss them. But your baby's out of order. And there's nothing beautiful about any child that's disrespectful and hard-headed. Good things don't come out of that. When people tell me, oh, your children are so intelligent, they're so smart, I say, well, I talk to them every step of the way. I talk to them about business. I talk to them about good credit. They were 7, 8, and 9 years old. I showed them at 5 years old, yes, you're responsible to make this bed. I showed them how. They didn't have to have it perfect. But every day we practice, they got good. When I showed them how to wash dishes properly, because I work at a restaurant, and trust me, these people come take, you can make an omelet, they come take it and put it in the dishwater, and you just make some nice soapy dishwater, and, and I look at them, why did you do that? You put dish liquid in there for you to take a thing, and it has about this much of either pancake batter or an omelet mixed up, and you just put in the water. They find a plate, they just put the plate in the water. And I said, but you don't scrape the food off the plate first? I said, this big old sink. You got a sink area where you can rinse. You mean to tell me you can't rinse this out and pour it into the drain area so it can go down before you put it in some soapy water? I said, once it's soapy water gets contaminated with old food and stuff, it ain't fit for nothing. And you'll think that they would know the difference and know better. But they don't. That's someone who wasn't raised to know how to clean dishes. Okay? I'm sweating in here. It's hot. But I tell people, They're not gonna know how to properly do things unless you don't show. If you don't show them or somebody show them. But it is your job to raise your children to be as competent as possible. I told my children about credit. Okay, I did. I told them the importance, and I showed them how to fill out applications and stuff. And they was 14 years old. They had jobs. They knew the importance of going to work. And to this day, they're workaholics. They're about going to get that money. They're go-getters. Okay? The importance of when they be around certain adults, they don't use profanity. They be like, my bad. They taught the difference. And I told them, you're not my equal. Just because you come an adult don't mean you're my equal. Have you raised children? Do you know what it is? Life experiences. When you go through some of the same experiences I have and have years under your belt and brought another person in this world and provided for them by your resources, not the state. Because you used the state to provide for your children. You didn't raise your children. The state did. They gave you the resources. When you raise a child, you are an example of somebody who go out here and get it and take your money that you earn and provide for your children. A handout ain't taught them nothing because now they want something for nothing. You have to teach them and demonstrate to them to not to be something for nothing people, because if you put in nothing, I guarantee you in the end, you will have nothing. You see these people go out here and sell drugs, and then they go to jail, or they get habits, and they have absolutely nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Absolutely nothing. And then they got to figure out how to kick a habit or come out of jail and be approved for a job to work to gain money. You teach these children, these girls, oh, they're going to get them a sugar daddy. When they find out what them sugar daddies going to do to them and done to them, and when they try to leave and they don't have nothing, they find out something for nothing is really a lie. But you geared them that way. Because you're supposed to tell your daughters, you go out here thinking you're going to be a pretty face, and these men telling you what you want to hear, and they telling you what they're going to do for you. Use your job as a mother and a father, auntie, cousin, to tell that child, whether it's male or female, baby, you're going to have to do something strange for that change. That's your job. Because you're supposed to be protecting your child and trying to teach them not to fall into the pits of Satan. Okay? You don't want to see your children fail and have bad relationships and be beat 10, 20 years. Okay? You got to teach your child to love somebody and what to go after. Just because somebody give you a compliment don't mean you're supposed to sit up and do nothing. They females, they think they're supposed to invest in their own household. And I be like, what? But God called a woman to be a helpmeet to her husband, to a relationship. But they can tell you all the different positions to hit. And I be like, for what? For what? And I be like, a nut is a nut is a nut is a nut. That's what I said. And yes, I'm saved. And yes, I'm a pastor. And yes, I've just said that. Because you talk to your children, Christians, like they're foolish and not they can go out into the world and deal with real life. Intimacy is a thing. You need to explain to them. For every time you fornicate, you're going to pay a price. You're going to be used up, miles on you. And now these young girls talking about their body counts 200, 300, 400 people plus. And talking about they want a husband. And a man going to say, even if you say, babe, I don't care about all that. You know what that man going to say? When he see you. Child, you done slept with all my friends. You done slept with people, so many people. And can't nobody please you. Your body out of order. It ain't right there. And then you're gonna be hurt. You're gonna be working. Then you gonna think you're gonna be tricking, and I be telling people, yeah, you're gonna pay a price every time. And there are the things that you build up when you get to fornicating, you're gonna see the enemy gonna snatch different things from your life. He gonna tear you and bring you all the way down. You're gonna be in a position where nobody wants you. People don't like damaged goods. When you get up being fake and putting on all of this makeup, all this weed down to your butt, and I tell a lot of people of color, you deceiving yourself. There's a lot of men like glam girls, but they want to know you're pretty up under that makeup, and they want to know you got real hair. And even if it's short, they want to know that it look good. Why? Before, when I first made YouTube, I used the shampoo. Just about all my hair fell out. But my hair down to here, actually. Yes, I wear wigs because it's a way to present yourself. You can't always use all these chemicals and blow dryers and think that it's not going to damage your hair. It is going to damage your hair. You got to give your hair a break. Let it alone. And then I see all of these African American women or African with 4C hair, wearing all this straight hair, okay, or curly wavy hair, but then you want to say you proud of your culture. Baby, I went to the restaurant one day, and when I got into this young girl had an afro. Her afro was so beautiful. I mean, it was amazing. And maybe I said because my hair won't stand up. But one thing I know about that hair was so beautiful, I just wanted to touch it. But I know how, y'all are about them afro, don't touch my hair, and, you go off on Caucasian. They just want to touch your hair. It's pretty. Y'all play in their hair. Y'all all blind like they are. Whether it look good on you or not. You can imitate other cultures and cultural features, but then you don't ever go out and buy an afro wig. Very few far in between. You don't want nobody to see your natural state. Sweetie, I was at a job site. And this was when I was an officer. And we was finna go for our posts. And we had to go through the fence and different things like that. And we had to be OC sprayed. Literally. I mean, I didn't want it in my hair because I wore a wig. And they was telling the girls about it and take their weave out. People was backing out because they didn't want their weave hair to be ruined, because once it gets the spray in it, it's no more good. It's water activated, sweat activated, and you'll start burning. Okay? And I was at the class, and I just turned around. They said, well, you can't wear no wig. I turned around and pulled it off. Set it on the table. They looked. I said, what? I got a head full of hair. And if I didn't, it's mine. People have short hair and they wear it well. There's nothing wrong with short hair. And then they looked at me, and the guys, they turned and they say, you're a real one. Being the inmates, you a real one. So we respect that. I told them it don't make sense. I'm not going to sit here and every time you see me, you want me to see some weave and this. And even my little short wigs, it don't have to be all the part. People, you can say what you want. Okay? That man gonna see the not so pretty side too. Not saying that this short wig I'm ugly. No, I don't feel that way. I don't have no problems. You need to be able to be real with yourself in front of people. You can't go outside unless you got 10 pounds of makeup on. Baby, that's not your face. You see these blotches? Most people got some. Most people got bags, young or old, especially if you work a lot. That don't mean nothing. Everybody teeth, it's not straight. You know, be real. Be honest. When you teach your children to love themselves, you have to consistently instill in them that they are enough just as they are. As long as they're keeping a good hygiene, they handling their business, they comb their hair, good grooming. That's the main thing. Respectful attitude. And handle their business. I guarantee you they're going to be attractive to a lot of people. Because most people want a person with a good attitude. You have to consistently teach your children. Well, as a little child, you need to get them germs that have been laid on your body from today off. You need to wash your body. Certain areas need more cleansing than others. Okay? You need to teach them this. It's a shame, and I'm going to say most people have bad hygiene. Okay? And that comes from not even being raised as a child. You train a child in the way they should go. When they get old, they won't depart. They coming right back to it. Somebody tell them they stink, they be like, own it. They don't like that. And I got my kids when they was young. They didn't do something, I'm like, ooh, you smell bad. And they be like, oh, Mom, you embarrassed me. No, you embarrassed yourself. While you playing and not going to take a shower when I told you to get in that bath or that shower, and you spent around in the water, ran the water, and didn't let it touch you and came outside. No, you did that to yourself. Now, when you go in there and wash your behind and come out and put on the proper deodorant and lotion, you won't be embarrassed. I can't say anything. But when you present yourself bad, I'm going to let you know it. Because you wasn't ashamed to come out like that. And people say, oh, you so hard. Man, my children go play, people like, you got the cleanest children. And I'll be like, I know. The first way they dealt with consequences, I said something. The next time I said, you come up out of that house and you ain't clean, trust me. You ain't going to play videos all week. Ain't nobody funky sitting around nobody. They learn very fast. Okay, very fast with me. Oh, this room ain't clean? And I taught them. Everything they love was taken from them. Nope. We used to go to the movies every weekend and out to dinner. Guess what? That was cut. No, you ain't watching no video games. Get your behind in there. Guess what the project gonna be for this weekend when I'm not working? I give them a bucket of water. I said, I need you to start scrubbing these doors. And they be looking at me. Yeah, I add a whole lot of stuff on that don't even need to be added on. Come on, let's go pick up the paper in the vacant lots. They didn't want no more responsibility. They started making sure their business was done. But it's a shame male children are never taught how to clean, wash dishes, how to cook. Before you get married, you're single. When you become adult, you're supposed to be preparing meals and know how to keep your house clean. God didn't tell a man just because you're a male that you don't do housework. And these men talking about, I bring in the bacon. You don't bring in all the bacon. They paying bills too. And God did mandate for a woman to pay a portion of the bills too. Until that man gets delivered to the point he's able to afford to pay all them bills. And some of y'all just going to have to face fact. That man that love you, that's good to you, is not rich. Can't afford to pay all them bills by himself. You supposed to be putting into the pot till you get grown. Both of y'all. Making it happen together. A lot of marriages divorce or never happen because of finances. And a lot of it is because a child was taught wrong. They taught them, girl, when they be 5, 6, when you get that dude, he gonna do the world for you. You lied. You lied. I don't teach fairy tales. Baby girl, you need to keep your finances together so you can maintain your household. You can get you a place when you become an adult. When you get in a relationship, you can be a helpmeet. Help whatever cause is going on. But you want to partly do things. I tell people, even as little children, you have to correct them when they're young. When you see grown folks drinking and stuff, you turn around, you ain't got to let them know all y'all drinking liquor. They should never even be in the room. I'm just saying. You got to say, babe, you see when they get to drinking all this stuff, you see how they get to drinking, they get drunk, they are intoxicated, they not in control of yourself. Don't be out in the street like that. When you give your significant other, make sure that they can enjoy your company by not engaging in this stuff. And some people say, well, there's nothing wrong with this, and this. It ain't nothing wrong with having a drink here and there, but it is something wrong with you every time somebody see you, you drunk or you high. Be sober. Do you like me when you're not drinking? Why do you hate yourself to put something in it that's tearing it down? Every day you doing stuff to eat away at your own body. You got to teach children when they're young that they need to search the scriptures for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You got to teach these things. You got to teach them to pray. Be more prayerful. A lot of us, when we get saved, we have a lot of bad habits to break because we was never taught. But if you teach them when they're small, I done seen a little baby came up to me. He was 3 years old. His parents got to argue. He came up to me and he looked at me and he said, can you pray for my parents' marriage that they don't get no divorce? He said, I'll pray with you. I said, oh my God, yes. But so many people's adults and they never did go to God. They got too much pride to pray. Too much pride. And yes, it's pride. They want to try to act like they cool. What's so cool about inviting the enemy in? It's just like I teach my children when they're young. Ain't nothing good about this music industry. They talking about see you on the other side. I said, what's funny about that? See you in death? You know, I made them think about a lot of these videos. They in coffins and it's the ground is set. You looking at apocalypse, zombies, and a lot of these girls, all they doing is standing there twerking, showing their backside. They have no class. That's the woman you want. And I look at my son. So when your girl come over here, she just gonna twerk in front of all these dudes and us in the household, right? And they look at me, nah. Oh no, that's what you teach them, because they don't have enough sense to see that shouldn't nobody every time they get on the stage be naked or close to naked. You shouldn't be going up to the school to pick up your children half naked. Did nobody teach you when you was young, baby? You got to cover that up. That's not something you should be showing in front of your children. You inappropriate. They need to bring back when they give tickets for indecent exposure outside. Because a lot of y'all don't have enough sense to put on some clothes. You go to church and you don't have no bra on. Baby, bye. Don't tell me all that garbage. The church, the building itself, is for a meeting place for souls to hear thus saith the Lord. Be ministered to be taught. Okay? We're not supposed to come to church to be a distraction. You know that ain't appropriate stand before God like that. And he said, be in modest apparel. You knew that was disrespectful. And I tell people, a lot of these people that come to church, he said all to come to church. We all under the same word, saved and unsaved, circumcised and uncircumcised. Look, let me explain something to you. A lot of people that's in the church are witches on assignment. God never said everybody that come to the church building or congregate is saved and living holy. And you know that. But then you want to scream church hurt. How? It's just a meeting where the souls come to hear the word of God, to grow, to be taught. We're transformed by the new renewing of the mind by the word of God. Once your mind is transformed, you do different. But if you're going to church 50 years, and as soon as you go outside, you light a cigarette in front of the church and curse like a sailor, I don't even see the purpose of you going. As soon as you come out of church, you use all this profanity. You never stop the sin, no type of sin. If we coming into a place to grow and learn, we should always be coming higher. The Holy Spirit is 24/7. You go home and read your word, oh, you'll see the change. And that's what I teach children. That's what you need to teach children, to have a relationship with God. Take them to church. Let them see how you praise God. Everybody don't want to praise God. I tell people, okay, I understand. But what you do need to tell them, they need to get to a quiet place and pray. Tell them about Jesus and let it be a choice. But if you least do what the word of God say, train them in the way a child should go, when they old, they won't depart. I tell people that's the truth. That's the truth. And you have to consistently do it. I should take my children to church and their friends. Not all the children that I took to church is saved. Not all my children are saved. But not by all the actions, some of the actions they do. They're not saved because, they're not unsaved because we all have a process, a journey. If you try, a lot of people try to quit smoking, it's so hard for them to do. Break addiction is really hard. Even the food addiction. But when you talk about coming to church, well, not even just coming to church, to break a food addiction, and you tell somebody, oh, you're on the borderline diabetic. Some people can break that sugar addiction overnight. Others, it may be 10 years. Okay? It depends on the habit. When I was a child, we really wasn't allowed sugar. We wasn't given candy and stuff. We was given Flintstone vitamins as candy. And we'll have those St. Joseph Bearer aspirin. And he told us that was candy. Okay? So when we got older, it wasn't hard to break sugar addiction because we was never hooked on it. We didn't have the first, I'm going to say, 14 years eating candy. That was practically non-existent in us. We didn't have the big piece of meat because when it was coming up there, fry us a chicken back in a minute. And ain't no meat on no chicken back. We was glad to get the fried batter off the chicken back. Okay, and they made us some Kraft macaroni and cheese. We was happy. Pork and beans and hot dogs. We had the piece, depends who household we went over. Beans and rice and cornbread. Okay. But nowadays, their dinner is pizza, hot dogs, chicken nuggets, and you got the chicken of a TV dinner with the apples in it and cinnamon apples in it, a brownie in it. You always get Lunchables. They put the little Oreo cookies in it, a little tiny candy bar. That's just the way it is. I'm just being honest about some things, and I was talking about the children, but it's everything. We all are somebody's children. If we had parents to teach us how to do a lot of stuff, clean the house, save money, manage our money, how to be respectful you wouldn't have as many problems you have in a relationship. Pride wouldn't even have room to stand up because you was checked when you was young, and most of the time you have to admit, you be like, yeah. But when you wait for something to get old in a person, they want to make an excuse, and you be like, okay, we in front of church, stop cussing. And then they be like, blink, blink, hell, I've been doing this a long time. It still ain't okay. That's not an excuse. And I teach children, why are you doing this? Why did you rather draw? Because, write me scribble scrabble on his book. Because he said I was ugly. Come here. Now I'm finna tap you. And no, you're not gonna go outside for the next 3 days. And then, what? That's out of order. Just because somebody did this does not make it right for you to do this. Stop making excuses for you being out of order. I see you do this again. I don't care why you doing it. I'm going to deal with you. You'll find out your child will grow up and set boundaries, healthy boundaries for themselves. They will consider how they treat somebody. I didn't teach my sons to hit on their sister. What? To the point, even when their sisters got bad and the sister hit them and they tapped them back, but I tapped her too when she touched them. But what happens is today, when they looking like, oh no, ain't no man hitting on my mama, my sister, my cousin, my aunties. And they'll check that man. And when they see that female is accepting that abuse and want to be from that bad, I told my sons, you back up. Because I don't need you in prison because they're stupid. That's right. I told them that as children. They grew up. First thing is girls, my son's girlfriend said, oh yeah, because he be doing this and this. I know he ain't going to hit me. I said, you right. But that don't mean because he ain't going to hit you, you come all out of your place and be totally disrespectful. Because I taught him to leave. I taught my son, you too good to be abused and disrespected and dogged. Just because you sitting there, I told him don't date a whole bunch of hood rats. Because you're going to get low quality. And what's going to happen is you ain't going to ever see a reason to invest in a woman, want to marry a woman, because you're too busy dealing with trash. And you're going to be like, man, I ain't being this and this. But when you meet a lady, you like, yeah. My son's be ready to put that ring on it. You got to teach these young girls when they young. I see oh my God, I see somehow these little girls in and they're having these little short mini skirts. Now they got weave in their head. Why the hell do a child have weave in their hair? I can understand if you did the braids and their hair is like, it's probably this long and you extended it to this. It should never come past this if their hair don't. Natural hair don't. It should be kitty hairdos. You got to teach a child to be in this child's place and consistently be on them. Don't let them around say, laugh one day and the next day you in there behind. You got to be inconsistent in whatever you do. If you want to see something turn out great, you got to consistently, even when I mean consistently apply discipline. Consistently do it in order so God to bless that thing, anoint that thing, okay? I don't care even if you're just singing in the choir. You got to discipline yourself to sing in key, to have breath control. You're going to have to do your muscles in your mouth and stretch them and do different things and try different things if you want certain sounds to come out a certain way. You got to know how to hold that air in your diaphragm and push it out slowly so you can endure a long note. It's training that got to go on. It don't just you wake up and da 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 da. No. You got to be taught rhythm. You got to consistently do that thing to perfect it. And that's even with raising children. If you want them to grow up to be an adult, not a grown person acting like a fool, that's childish. No, an adult, and make adult decisions and be impressive. You got to teach that to them when they're young. I tell everybody, if you want to be your child to grow up and be a blessing and not just a downright hard lesson, you got to teach them along the way. They got to see it by example what you teaching them. Because I always told my children, well, the neighbor's grass ain't cut. They when you get finished cutting this grass, go over there and cut next door. So to this day, they get up and cut people grass and don't be thinking nothing of it. They're not always looking for, oh, you going to give me some money. I be like, that woman down there is 102. Go down there and cut her grass. Okay. They happy. I said, that is so good. God will bless you for what you do. Your looks improve because of the beautiful things you do for people. And it do. You'll be surprised. Girl meet some guy and he go over to her mom's house and her grass is tall and he come back later on that evening, man, I'm finna come over here and cut your grass for you. And he come over there and cut it and you be standing there, oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. How much she owe you? And he say, nothing. I have to look out for your mom and everything, you know. I bet you that woman be bragging. Your name be all across town. Girl, I met this guy. I took him to my mom's house. Her grass went cut. Do you know he went and cut her grass and everything? He ain't charged her nothing. He was looking out. And they be like, for real? He in charge? You can't always have your hand out. And people say they want a blessing. You got to give in order to receive. You got to bless people. I purposely had a lawn service and then started having other people in the hood come over and cut my grass. The lawn service a lot of times wouldn't even come out anyway, and they just try to play you. And I would have people come over and do different things to the yard and pay them. Yes, you can attract dope fiends because they itching for money. But you know a lot of times if somebody's on drugs, I just turn around and say, well, I'm not really trying to make you have, fulfill your drug habit because I'm not trying to kill you. I'm not trying to give you money to put stuff in your body to kill you. I have purposely bought school clothes brand new and took them to the secondhand store or took them to a church that give away free clothes. Purposely did it. I took one time, I had like 8 large garbage bags, and this was a renowned church. When I say them members was having jobs, $80,000, and they seen the stuff I brought in there, this girl, she seen it, and the tag was still on a $2,500 dress. When I said they went up and then they was like, oh my God, I got my prom dress. They was thanking God so much. You should have seen them. They had people came in, was barely can dress. I told her purposely them, I said, come on in, I'm finna bring some clothes in. Well, come on. Invited them in. All I'm gonna say is they was dressed. And I gave it away. But I spent good money for it. Whenever I buy clothes, it don't have no more than 2 years longevity. Some clothes, because I work so much, I never get to change or wear. I just give them away. I'm not going to lie. I give them away. Shoes. I tell people I had some Louis Vuittons. I just took it to the secondhand store. I walked through and seen somebody and young girl, and I don't know. I just gave it to her. Working a job. She didn't have no shoes. I gave her some black Nikes. And then when people see, how did you get that blessing? I bless people all along the way. All along the way. You got to give in order to receive. You give people and meet their needs sometimes, got to meet yours. Or somebody else. He'll lay it on their heart to do it. Yes, he will. If you really are a good woman, I tell people, if you are a good woman for real, trust me. Trust me when I say this. Men know that you are a good woman. And they will be beating your door down. I don't care what you look like. It's rare to find a good woman. Did you know it's more females in the enemy camp than it is in God's camp? You got more women pretending to be saved than that's saved. You'll find better female who ain't never been saved that act way better than the people jumping around in the church. I said it. When you sit there and be a parent to your child and every day get up and comb their head and make sure their clothes are clean and wash their clothes out on the hand. I remember my children were young. I didn't have a washing machine. And as soon as they take their clothes off, I used to wash their clothes on my hand and hang it up on clothes hangers in the bathroom. Well, what happened one day, somebody called Protective Service on me. Protective Service ended up giving me an award for being a great mama. They said they had never seen a young person that beautiful and that good. He said when they talk to my children, they said they're so intelligent, so clean, their capabilities are so high. He said, your 2-year-old ran in there talking about, I cook you some ramen noodle and put it in a bowl. And they said they watched her put the ramen noodles in a bowl and hit the thing and put 4 minutes on it. And they looked at her and they said, oh, and I'll do it for you. She said, no, I'm a big girl. My mama said press 4. She knew the numbers. She pressed 4. She knew that as her big brother take it out of the microwave for her. And I said, I didn't want to teach her that. She was determined not to be the only baby in the house. So I showed her how to do the ramen noodles. And by the time she was 2 years old, she was doing it, okay? But it's called training your child. Now my daughter's an excellent cook. I taught them about plating food. I said, oh my God, y'all cook some eggs. These eggs got grease in them. Baby, this is how you cook eggs. And keep them pretty and yellow. I said, then put a little green parsley on top of the egg once you did that little spot. I said, when you plate it, make sure you plate the bacon on it neatly. Or the sausage. Don't have all that grease on it. Put a paper towel up on it and let the grease, the paper towel gather the grease off of it. And I taught them how to place food on a plate and make it pretty. I said, treat everybody when you make their plate and you're cooking like they are king or queen. I said, those things matter. I see some people, here you come with some old black greasy eggs and stuff. You done burnt the doggone food and then here you come bringing it. And I tell people, I don't eat burnt food. It's all greasy and nasty and sloppy. You didn't put no effort in it. Don't cook for me. And I would never do that. Oh my God. And then we're going to talk about kids going to, you have a backyard party. And you don't teach your child to sit down somewhere or go in the area where the children going to play. You have children sitting down there, grown folks drinking, and you sitting up there looking in your mouth. And don't nobody tell them, baby, get out of grown folks' face. Go over there and play with the children. You come to the party, a cookout, you don't bring your children like they big wheels, they little bicycles, little riding toys for the little ones. You don't bring the big boys. They don't have no basketball. I mean, you didn't bring them nothing that they can entertain themselves while they out there. Beach ball, and they can bounce and throw it. Jump rope, chalk on the ground. You didn't bring anything. No. You don't just bring you and your family and y'all lone guts. You didn't even bring a case of pop in your car. I don't care if it was Kool-Aid in a pop bottle. You shouldn't bring 6 kids to a cookout and say, well, they said they was serving food, but you can do something not to be so hard on somebody's food budget. It's called consideration. These things have to be taught as a child consistently. Then you will see the difference. Well, I'm that girl Goddess. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'm just putting it out here, hoping to make something, a change in somebody. Y'all be blessed. I enjoy y'all. Bye.